Guys, what is going on? Nathan Macias with Detail Launch here, and in today's video we are going to cover exactly how we generate unlimited qualified leads for clients and save them time so they don't have to actually work them, right? And so after installing the system in over 100 auto styling shops, I'm confident this is the best system to run in order to go ahead and generate new qualified clients, right? And so first off, we have to understand, what does actually generating clients look like, right? And so when we look here, let's just draw out a basic funnel. This is in general how leads come in. They go ahead, they have little eyeballs. Some of these are good leads. We like these guys. They're pretty awesome. They're just ready to buy. Some of these are on the fence, but they could be persuaded with a good sales process. They'd be happy to send you over some money. And then some of these guys are little angry faces, right? They don't like to spend money. They're going to be upset if you tell them they can't have it for free. And we want as few of these guys as possible. Now, here's kind of the extreme that two people go on this initial lead gathering stage. There's two extremes. Number one is I want absolutely everybody, because I want to tell my clients we get them the cheapest leads. I want to tell them that we're the best at generating leads and no one can match our results. So I'm going to let all of these people in. Right, I'm just going to cast a big old net. I'm going to run the ads for the $199 full detail. I'm going to run the ads for the $495, $595 coatings, right? I'm just going to underprice our services, your services as a service provider, so that I can tell you get the most leads possible. And yeah, I'm going to get $2 to $4 leads. But the reality is that a large amount of those leads are going to be these little angry face guys. They're going to be these little red guys that you don't want coming in. You're going to get the greens. You're going to get the yellows as well. But even those greens and yellows aren't going to pay you what you're worth. There's an old saying that I really like in the marketing world, which is there's the only thing worse than losing a $1,000 sale to a customer with a $200 budget is getting a $200 sale on a customer with a $2,000 budget. Right? And so I'd rather have a higher end service that less people get, because even if I charge $1,500 and I only convert 1 out of 5 instead of every single person, my profit is still higher, and my revenue, because I'm converting 1 out of 5 instead of every single one of these cheap guys, right? And so that isn't how we do it. Now, option number 2, and this is where a lot of big guys will come in and say, oh, the little guys don't know how to market properly in order to go ahead and actually bring in quality leads. This is option number 2, is we're only going to run a free quote for our services, and we're going to run it all only to a landing page, right? What this means is it's a separate page off of Facebook. There's no form. It's just a landing page where they have to answer several questions in order to even be allowed to come into the ecosystem. And what this often has happened is they'll tell you that they're generating $30 to $50 leads. And in some cases that might be true. But the reality is I've been inside of their ad accounts. I've seen the campaigns they run for clients that are now with us. When you're running such a stringent qualifying process on the front end in this lead stage right here, when you're running such an aggressive process, what's actually going to happen is you may start at $30 to $50 leads for a week or two, but what actually happens is you start to see $60, $70, $80, $90 leads, and you're wondering, how the hell do these people have other successful clients? Because when I came to them, I have $80 leads, and they're gaslighting me and telling me this is normal. It isn't. It isn't true. Don't worry. And so you don't want to go this way as well. What we found is a happy medium, and where you actually want it is you want to disqualify these guys. We're going to give them little green X's because we're happy to get rid of them. But you want to give these guys, you want to grab all these yellow and green guys up, because the yellow guys can also spend money. The yellow guys are also down. They just need a little bit of convincing before they actually go ahead and give you any money. And so what we found is the happy medium is we do want to run a starting price in the ads, okay? That's the very first thing. The reason you want to run a starting price in the ads is it disqualifies all the brokies. Now, the actual bare minimum price point you want to run on a ceramic coating ad is a $7.95. Yes, this is not going to be the price you sell every coating for. No, it is not going to be the primary price point you even sell at. But what this does is all these red guys who don't want to spend money, yeah, they'll be under your account saying, why is it so expensive? Please, no, right? But what it does is it allows those yellow and green guys who could be like, okay, I'm open to spending that much if this is worth it, to jump in and spend the money, right? And then when you're looking at window tint, you're going to do the same thing, except for at the $349 for a ceramic tint, possibly a $179 to a $189 for a carbon tint, depending on your area. And then for the PPF, the lowest you really want to go, like the lowest, is going to be the $14.95 price point. We recommend being up towards the $17.95 price point to qualify for a front-end PPF. And what's great is that because these ticket prices are so high, even if we're paying, anywhere from, depending on the service, $5 to $20 per lead, we're getting enough volume through, and the actual revenue per job is high enough that if we spend $200, $300 to acquire these customers, hell, I'll trade $200 for a $2,500 average ticket. Because you got to remember, this right here isn't what we're actually selling at. This is a special offer they can claim, and we'll uphold it if they really want it. But once they're in the door and they have their vehicle there, why wouldn't they add in a windshield coating? Why wouldn't they add in a glass ceramic coating? Why wouldn't they add a one-step polish and ceramic coating on the remainder of the body that isn't getting the PPF, right? And so once we get them in, we can pull in the people who can be convinced to buy, and we can pull in the people who are ready to buy, all through just these basic qualifications. We're not going to be bringing in absolutely everybody because most leads are trash, but we're also not going to disqualify so heavily that we don't even have the opportunity to sell to people, right? And so that's the very first stage, is when we actually get leads in the door. Now, the second stage in the actual funnel that we define it as is a qualified prospect, okay? A qualified customer even. And so now that we have them in the funnel, how do we know these people are qualified? This is where actual work takes place. We're going to get on the phone with them, okay? Once we're on the phone with them, we're looking at three main things, right? What we're looking at is very simple. Let me go ahead and erase this for you so we actually have room to work here. What we're looking at when we look at these three main things is very simple. We're going to look at their vehicle make and model, because if it's a 1990s Toyota Corolla, it's probably not qualified for a PPF. But if we're selling a window tint, it's a 21-year-old in a 1990 Corolla, and he's looking to have a riced-out car, he's the perfect candidate for window tint, right? And so there's a little subjectivity there. So we're looking at vehicle make and model. We're looking at time frame. When is this person looking to move forward? Because if it's 6 weeks out or less, that is a big old check mark. But if he says, well, I want to do this in 6 months, unless he has a Ferrari on order, he's probably not actually going to move forward. That's a big red flag. So that isn't qualified, right? Then when we look at the third and final qualification we're looking at, it's budget / financials, right? And so how do you properly qualify based on budget without essentially giving the price right away and losing the sale? The way we like to do this is really simple. Number one, those starting at prices in the ad. It disqualifies most of the brokies right there. But once we're on the phone and they ask a price right away, because most people do, here's the old school way of doing it. The old school way is saying, oh, well, I can't really tell you anything about that because I don't know anything about your vehicle. Tell me if you've ever heard that before. Or you've hopped on with an agency who claims to be the best at what they do and they tell you that right at the start of the call. It's bullshit, right? What actually happens and what we actually recommend is very simple. Give them a price range, right? And so when we get on the call and they ask us that question, it's very simple. Yeah, John, thank you very much for asking. I mean, most people like to beat around the bush. I'm super straightforward, just like you. Our pricing for our ceramic coatings can range anywhere between $650, $750 on a base level, all the way upwards of $3,000 to $5,000 if you're looking for a full correction, wet sanding, and high-end protection package. I mean, I don't really know enough about your vehicle to tell you where you fall, but I really doubt you're going to be on the extreme high end. Is it cool if I ask you a few more questions? And then you're back in the sale, and you didn't raise the sales resistance because you were just straightforward with them. You need to give these prospects information. We live in a consumer society today that isn't stupid, that is used to these old school sales tactics. And so by going ahead and giving them this basic information, you're going to actually be able to qualify them. And so now that they've actually gone ahead and they've been qualified by their make and model, they have a 2020 F-150. So they're all qualified there. Jesus, can this work for me? Thank you. So they have a 2020 F-150. They're looking to move forward in 4 weeks with our ceramic coatings. And their budget, they're more than open to the $750 to $2,000 price range, right? They just want to know an accurate price at the end of the call. Now that we've gone ahead and qualified them there, now we are going to go into the final stage, which is actually closing the customer. And so in order to close the customer, it's very simple. You take them through the process. You ask them a handful of discovery questions. What kind of vehicle do you have? What made you interested in filling out our ad? Have you ever heard of ceramic coatings before? What do you normally do to take care of your vehicle? How are you currently taking care of your vehicle? And why are you looking to make a change, right? Okay, awesome. And so have you ever looked into working with anybody to solve this before? No? Okay, great. And those are all the questions we're going to run through in discovery. Then we pitch them the service very simply. We are not pitching them about all of the 9H hardness and how this is a magic solution that's going to solve everything for them. We are pitching them the dream result. John, you told me about your F-150 and it has a lot of scratches right now. The first thing we're going to do is correct the vehicle and bring back the mirror-like shine that it had when it came off the lot, right? So we're painting a dream image of his car having a mirror-like shine, right? It looks absolutely amazing. It's going to look great off the lot. Then after that, we are going to go ahead and coat the vehicle with our protective sealant, with our ceramic coating that is going to allow us to have a layer of protection, almost like a phone protector on your screen, right? A screen protector on your phone. For example, John, do you ever go ahead and take a look at your phone and you see those little scratches, little nicks in it? Yeah? Well, what a ceramic coating does is it actually acts as that sacrificial layer. So if at any point you're not happy with the way your vehicle looks, with a basic polish, it won't take away from the clear coat and the shine of your vehicle. It'll actually go ahead and take away from the ceramic coating. That way you have the long-term protection for the next 5+ years, and it still has that minty fresh shine, just like when you got it off of the dealership lot. Does that make sense, Sean? And so we paint this dream image of how his vehicle is going to look amazing, of how it's going to be protected, and that is how we go in for the close. Now, the reality is, in order to make this system work, you have two options. You can either go the $70, $80, $90 lead way, which you will get the most hyper-qualified leads there, but it's not going to be a very profitable system to run. Option 2 is you can go ahead and run our system where we're going to go more of the middle of the road hybrid route, but then here's how you work a lead. And I'm sure that you've heard this before, because even on the most hyper qualified lead way, you have to work them this way. Your volume of leads is lower. And so this is the bare minimum we require when we look at working leads, is the 3x3 method. What does this mean? 3 calls, 3 texts, and 3 emails every single day for the first 3 days. And this is a very light follow-up process when we're looking at actually following up and working leads. With our more advanced customers, we're doing a minimum of 120 dials per day. And so it gets to be a lot of work, because say you're spending $50 per day in ad spend, right? So let's go ahead and go over here. We're spending $50 per day, and we're running a ceramic coating ad, so we're getting $7.50 leads, right? That would mean that you're getting about 7 leads per day. Let's just go here. Let's just call it 750. Again, this is just guesstimation, so if you're on YouTube and you're seeing this, assume that this is correct, right? 7 leads per day, right? At the end of that 3rd day, we now have 21 leads every single day that we need to call 3 times, text 3 times, and email 3 times. That equals 63 calls minimum per day. And that's before we even get into more advanced follow-up. Because if we take this any further and we actually go ahead and do what we have our sales teams do, we're looking at a minimum of 5 to 7 days of follow-up, which means that if you take the 21, you make it 5 instead, you're looking at a minimum of 105 And then if you go up to 7, you're looking at 147 calls per day, right? So it stacks up very fast. And now, you as a business owner, you're welcome to do whatever you'd like to do, and you're welcome to install this system by yourself if you think that's the most helpful. However, what our clients pay us to do and what most people use us for isn't just for generating leads, because a monkey could do that. What they do use us for is actually qualifying and calling the leads for them. And so we have a call center team with a bunch of happy little agents who are super happy to do the job and who make great pay working for us, who go ahead and spend all day calling your leads. And what this means is that they can go ahead and they can not just make 100 dials per day. They cannot just make 150, but they can make 300-400 dials every single day and then go ahead and qualify them right here on the phone for you. I have no clue why I did that, but they can go ahead and qualify them on the phone for you. And when they qualify them on the phone, they then go ahead and say, hey, this is a qualified lead. Let me transfer this over to John, the owner of our shop. John, we have Dan on the line. He has an F-150. He has swirl mark scratches, and he's looking to get a ceramic coating applied on his vehicle. Can I transfer him over? And so what they do as happy little call center reps is they take all of the leads here, they work them, right? They go ahead, they take their hammer out, and they work these leads. And then only at the point where they're qualified do they pass them along to you here for you to close them, right? And this process allows us to go ahead and generate the highest volume of leads, save you time because you're not actually sitting there qualifying them yourself, and make